This podcast is brought to you by Holo.ai and by Paramount Plus.
The Final Frontier podcast. These are the voyages of Jake Boger and Justin Spur. Our weekly mission, to explore memories of Star Trek's strange new worlds, to recall the search for new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has had the spare time to go before. Welcome, everybody, to the Final Frontier podcast. We've got our Star Trek Jim Jams on, and our phasers are set to fun.
As
And
always.
this episode is unintentionally fun.
It's both. It teeters on both.
It is. It's interesting. It was both. Well, no, not both. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and I have a lot of praises to sing to it. But at the same time, it's the premise, not the premise. The premise is fine. The execution is kind of funny in ways, but we are, of course, talking about Star Trek, the original series, Season 2, Episode 11, The Deadly Years. This episode takes place between stardates 3478.2 and 3479.4, and the in-universe date is still 2267. We have not traveled back to the future yet.
Not yet.
And the original air date for this episode is December 5th, 1967. And it is written by David P. Harmon and directed by our friend Joseph Pevney. And when I saw that, I literally said, "Oh, Joseph Pevney, we're in for a wild ride."
Hey man, we are in for quality, kinda.
Our story begins with the Enterprise ferrying a senior officer, Commodore Stoker, to Starbase 10, where he is due to assume command. On the way, the ship makes a stop at planet Gamma Hydra 4 to resupply the research station there. A landing party consisting of Captain Kirk, Spock, Dr. McCoy, Chief Engineer Scott, Ensign Chekhov, and Lieutenant Arlene Galloway beam down to the facility. My first thought when this episode began was that woman is very short, and Shatner is clearly happy about it.
I was impressed she had a pixie cut. I was like, a pixie cut in the 1960s. I was
It was
like,
a
oh,
thing, wasn't it?
was it? To me,
Maybe
like
with
the
the
1960s
kids.
is, yeah, maybe with the kids. Because to me, the 1960s is conservative. All the men in this show are very conservative haircuts.
Oh, no, they do. Okay, so here's a fun fact for you.
Short and above the ears, isn't it?
Not Chekhov. His hair is formulated to appeal to the youth.
Oh, interesting.
And they all have those what would you call those, like sharp comma-shaped sideburns? That was done deliberately to appeal to a younger audience.
Oh, because I mean, well, no, I guess O'Hara does have a shorter hair. I mean, she's got more of a beehive haircut. I realized as the episode went on, her short hair was probably functional.
Oh, you mean the young lieutenants?
Yeah, to help facilitate the old person.
Actually,
makeup.
I think you're right, because she's appeared in another episode, and I cannot remember, but I think she does have longer hair in that episode. But that's an Easter egg for later. The station seems completely deserted until Chekhov discovers the body of a man who apparently has died of old age and panics. So Chekhov walks into this room, right? And it's dark. And my only thought is, it's the 23rd century. Are we really sending landing parties down to planets without flashlights? Is that a thing that we're doing?
I mean, evidently, but we gotta do our Paramount Plus.
Oh, we forgot. I forgot. I apologize. Yes, please, Justin, grace us with the Paramount Plus description, brought to you by Paramount Plus.
Brought to you by Paramount Plus. Now, it made me question how old the Wonder Years are, because the Deadly Years felt like that could have been a potential reference to the Wonder Years.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me?
Wonder Time, older time. No, maybe not. I don't know.
No,
I actually don't
The
know.
Wonder Years aired in the late 80s.
Late 80s, that makes sense.
It's
They
about
said
the
that.
60s, but it aired in the late 80s.
Oh, how interesting. And then I said the deadly years in reference to aging that felt elder phobic, which this episode kind of largely feels elder phobic. And then my final question was, how much old people makeup will we have to put up with in this episode? And a lot.
I wouldn't say put up with.
It honestly turned out better. I was expecting it to be way goofier.
It
And
turned
don't get
out
me
way better
wrong,
than I thought.
don't get me wrong, it gets goofy. But I was impressed. We're gonna get to the makeup. We're gonna
We
talk
will
about
get
the
to the
makeup.
makeup, but yes, I was impressed. Not gonna lie.
My
I
my
was not
also
expecting it to be as good as it was for
I
1967.
I was expecting it to be worse. It does get kind of goofy by the end of it, but I was expecting worse. The room that Chekhov walks into with the spinning lights and the old person meticulously staged in the center of it.
Oh,
What do
you
you think
mean
that room
Zordon?
is? Zord. Oh my God. Okay, I didn't write that down, but I was like, it's Zordon from the Mighty Morphin
It's
Power Rangers.
totally, yeah, it's totally
But
Zordon.
not the show,
No,
the
no, the
movie.
movie when his tube
The
breaks.
movie. Oh my God, yes. Okay, I didn't. I was gonna write that down, and I'm like, is Jake gonna get this? Are the
Oh,
people gonna get this?
oh, Jake certainly got it. It popped in my head. I
It
was like,
to-
Zordon?
Zordon. It totally does. It totally. So that just makes me think that whoever made that movie took that from this, because that's not the first time something Power Ranger-esque has come from this show. I'm just saying. I'm
Maybe, but
just
old
saying.
man lying on a table is not exactly.
Well,
I don't think
the
that's a
lighting.
trademarkable idea.
No, but the lighting and the staging of it was very similar. Very immediately I went the hanging lights in the room. But yeah, my question was, what do you think that room was for normally?
I don't know. Like, it's got a
Well,
table, so presumably science.
science. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume science,
But they've
and then
converted it to a funeral home. Like,
to a funeral home. Um, Now this is a question that I honestly came up a lot in this episode. Obviously, dementia and Alzheimer's has always existed, but like when was it like an officially what, or do you know maybe when it was became an officially recognized like illness or mental disease for the elderly? Because
I'm sure it would have been before this, but to be fair, they never called it Alzheimer's. They called it senility.
well, that's what they call it in this, right? So
Yeah.
that's where I'm curious, like where the term dementia or Alzheimer's, like um where that first sort of cropped up, because yeah, in this they refer to it as senility, and not just generally makes the assumption, the part of this episode that was interesting to me was how kind of obviously 1960s, like it just assumes that all old people go senile and not every old person develops senility. Some of them do, but not all of them.
1906.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. That was when it was first diagnosed or named or die. I wonder what does this.
Fun fact. It says here, the first psychiatrist to present a case for Alzheimer's disease was a woman named Aloise Alzheimer.
Oh, no kidding.
That
Huh.
would make sense because it's named Alzheimer's disease.
Interesting. So okay.
It's
So
only a fun coincidence that you can kind of like it doesn't rhyme, but you can like finagle it into old timers.
old timers get Alzheimer's. Yeah, like it works. So that's really interesting. So it's interesting that but I mean to be fair, Bones is not that kind of doctor. But it's interesting that they never reference Kirk having clear Alzheimer's. We're gonna come back to that, but
I don't
or
know that
early
you
onset
can.
dementia.
I was going to say with my psychology degree that I don't have,
Yeah.
I would say that's more dementia than Alzheimer's because he forgets things, but not everything.
Sorry. Yeah, dementia. Definitely because again, not to jump ahead, but the anger is very dementia coded.
Oh, the anger was fun for me.
Yeah, because I have people had people in my life that displayed that. My great grandpa had early onset dementia and developed full blown dementia. So like recognized the symptoms, and I was like, yeah, that's what this is. It's just it was weird to me that they never named it in the episode.
Robert Johnson, a member of the station crew, appears with his wife Elaine. Both claim to be in their late 20s, yet appear 50 years older. They soon die in the Enterprise sickbay. Okay, so there's a lot of fun facts that come into play here. But the first thing I have to say, because I felt this as I was watching, I said, like Scoob, it looks like we have a mystery to solve.
Yes, totally. I was just okay. So the old couple. This is a
The
callous
old
question.
couple, the worst sitcom ever.
Yeah, right. That they were actual old people, right?
The actors were, yes.
Yeah,
Which
that was my
actually,
one thing.
not only were they old people, one of them, okay, this is fun. Felix Locker, who played Robert Johnson, was the
Yeah.
earliest born actor to appear in any Star Trek episode or film, being born July 16th, 1882.
Whoa.
This
That's
dude
wild.
lived through both world wars.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, that's
I was
wild.
just impressed he was an old person. Like
Well,
I,
but
I,
but
I
but
that
think
was
about this though. Like we're gonna be in, hopefully we make it to 2267, but we're gonna be people that were born in the 20th century.
true. This is true.
And it's
Knock
going to
on
be
wood.
the same. It's going to be the same sort of phenomenon. It's just 1987 instead of, or 1992 for some people,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's
which is
true.
the same, like, in the late 1800s, there were old timers that were around during the quote revolution.
That's yeah, that's my great grandma was like that. She lived through I think it was both World War One and World War Two. I was like, man, the technology you've been through, it's just
But this
so
man
mind
was an
blowing to me.
adult and lived through both of them.
That's yeah, wild.
That
Wild.
is that's
Impressive.
very wild. And then the only other question I have is the Commodore refers to Kirk as Sir like two or three times, and I'm just like, why? The only thing I
Is it
can think of is
because
just out of respect.
I was gonna say because he's grossly incompetent, but the respect
Well,
works too.
there's yeah, there. I think he recognizes that he's grossly incompetent in this environment.
Yeah, yeah. I will say unlike the other pencil pushing nerds or what Kirk has another term. We'll get to it.
I
At
know.
least he knows he.
Okay. I have to bring that up right now because I don't want to forget it. Like when he said that, I was like, "Wow, did they watch the show and then travel back in time?" Because that's oddly similar to how
I
Justin described
know.
these people.
That's what I put down in my notes as well. Where yeah, I was like, yeah, that's pretty similar to pencil pushing nerd. But the
I was
thing is,
like,
this
"Wow,
guy,
interesting."
but this guy knows. Like he didn't. We're gonna get there, but this guy
Yeah,
knows what he is.
this guy had no delusions of grandeur. He knew exactly what he
No,
was.
no, absolutely, he knew. He absolutely knew, and I respected him for it a little bit.
Spock and civilian scientist Dr. Janet Wallace begin an investigation into the ailment. So some more fun facts here. Dr. Wallace's costume was made from drapes, and when I read that, I
Yeah,
was like, "Yep, that tracks."
yeah, got checks.
Because when I first saw it, I was like, "What is this?"
Yep, I had a similar thing. I was like, well, I mean, I was when it when it pans across the panel of like respected professionals that are dealing with this, and she's just in this bright neon pink outfit. I was like, this feels unprofessional. Feel like
Oh,
respected doctor of I don't remember, can't remember what she's a doctor in her bright
endocrinology.
neon and yeah, respected doctor in endocrinology wearing a neon pink jumpsuit. But then the next scene happens, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Oh
That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Well, unprofessional is her middle name, but I also couldn't help but notice they just so happened to have an endocrinologist on board. That was lucky.
That was lucky. Okay, remind me.
And
I
to be
know what an
fair,
endocrinologist.
she does nothing.
What remind me what an endocrinologist is.
They specialize in hormones, including pituitary disorders.
Oh, yeah, that is weirdly weird. It's weird and specific that she's a civilian doctor. I guess that's meant to explain the outfit so she can flirt with Kirk. I'm guessing.
I would imagine, yeah. Because this way, in order to appear in that outfit, she would have had to have been A, off duty, and B, appear in his quarters.
Yeah, I mean, I go look. I got thoughts on her,
Which
but
is a thing that could have happened, but that means she would have had to have walked the halls in that. And had she been an officer, that would have turned some heads.
I think yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And you may have wondered, inimical means harmful, hostile, or opposed to something.
All right, all right, all right.
Which
I
solid
did.
word usage, Spock. I did have to look that up. I'm not going to lie, but once I did, I was like,
He always says big words I don't understand. I
it's
mean,
just not a
obviously we
common. It's just not. But don't think for a minute I'm not going to start using it because that's a good word. I like it.
that's happened a few times. Obviously you got to make note of Kirk continues to have a type. Um, and it's just amazing how it's like somebody is paying attention because it is always a blonde woman. Like every single time she's blonde. It's so weird. It happens.
This does change slightly as we go along, but yes, his preference is clear.
Like it's all right.
How
Whoever
many of
like
his exes,
Joseph
though?
Joseph
That's the
Pevney is
thing.
clearly paying attention.
Well, no, but
Like
I mean, this is like the second or third ex we meet of Kirk in some form
who's
or
a
fashion
blonde
that's been
woman.
a blonde woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
The scene ends with the one of those boson whistles, and I just said the whistle might as well have been a bang.
well, speaking of that, I have a note and see if you can spot the running theme of this episode. Now is not the time for flirting, Jim. You have a ticking clock crisis on your hands.
No, there's always time for flirting, Jim. It's always time.
And I also had to ask myself, how did Kirk have time to graduate from the academy with all these trysts? Because I think this is number like 4 or 5.
I mean, I think his flagrant display for the rules displays that he probably didn't go to class all the time.
This is fair, but again, we've seen scenes that suggest that Kirk is actually just a giant nerd.
I mean, hey, he can multitask.
He'd have to.
He can read his Starfleet manuals and rules. What we can't say it, this is a PG show, but he can multitask.
He does have 2 hands.
He has two hands, and she has another two hands.
I was going to
She can
say,
hold open.
and he may have help.
I'm just saying she can hold open the book,
Oh,
or he can put it on her back.
to quote Kif.
Oh,
I'm sorry, everybody. It's been one of those days.
Their only clue is a comet that passed Gamma Hydra 4 recently. Soon the landing party, with the exception of Chekhov, begin to age rapidly as well. Lieutenant Galway ages most rapidly and soon dies. By now they have learned that the comet gave off low-level radiation that most likely caused the aging effect.
I love how they brought back the physical machine, which is just Chekhov in the background, just kicking the thing. I
And
thought that was funny.
the best part about that is that like Chekhov needs to be in the scene, but they clearly didn't put too much thought into it because the bulk of the scene he is literally just laying on the table with his knees up
I know.
and
My
he's
favorite
just
bit is how
laying
they.
there.
I love how they just keep talking about him as though he's not there.
But he's
Like,
there. But he's like a couch because he doesn't say a thing.
he's right there, guys. You could have this conversation. This was the kind of the beginning of the old person makeup. I love the gradualness of the old person effect. Like I like how when we first cut to McCoy, he's just got the little bit of gray in his
Hmm.
temples. I was like, nice. That's nice. I love when things are slow and progressive like that. It's like nice
Well, I
details.
mean, not with the young Lieutenant Galway, but that was done for
No,
story reasons.
yeah, pretty much.
Interestingly, aging seems to have hit Scotty first and hardest. This will actually be true for James Doohan as well by the time we get to the movies, as he arguably shows the most visible signs of aging of the cast.
This is true. Also, I thought about it because I think last week I don't have a note for this, but last week I said that I don't understand why Scotty culturally is not perceived as being a total badass because he is. I realized what it was. It's oh my God, I'm gonna blank on the name because I'm on a podcast. The Calvin Timeline movie, not Nick Frost, Simon Pegg. It's Simon Pegg's portrayal of him in those movies gave me the false perception that he's a goofball, and I would not characterize him as a goofball.
No, he has comedy moments, but he's not a goofball character. This is where I do want to talk about the aging effects are actually quite good. I was legitimately impressed, especially the
Yeah,
early aging effects, like you said. Once we get to some of the more extreme stuff, it does come off a smidge cartoony, but like
yeah, a little bit.
the mid period where McCoy has white hair and Kirk has arguably the contemporary Donald Trump cut, um, or at least
Honestly,
coloring.
that's honestly not who I compared him to. I kept saying I have a note for this later, but I'll bring it up now. He was just slowly turning into Marlon Brando over the course of
That's a
that movie.
better description. Yeah. That is a better description.
There's a point where he just straight up has Marlon Brando's forehead. And I'm like, but it's like 20 years before old Marlon Brando, so it's impossible for it to be Marlon Brando, but he just turns into Marlon Brando. I loved how as McCoy got older, he slowly turned into Benoit Blanc. I don't know if you've seen the Knives Out movies. His accent
No,
just got
but
more Kentucky fried as it
I
went
know what
along.
you're talking about. I love
Um,
that touch actually. I really did because It tends to happen.
It does tend to happen. So you said, okay, that was interesting. I couldn't tell. You mentioned McCoy's wig because I couldn't tell if it was the device I was watching it on because I watched them on I don't watch it on the television. His wig looked blonde. It did not look white.
No, it was
It looked
very
blonde.
white.
Oh, interesting. So that might have just been my device because to me there was certain lighting where it just looked straight up strawberry blonde.
I don't recall it ever looking blonde, but I suppose under the right lighting conditions, it could have come across that way. I always saw white. But
Interesting.
this will come as a surprise to no one. William Shatner resisted looking too old as Captain Kirk aged. This is why at first his aging, Kirk's hairline is receding, but later his hair is more full.
Yeah, I did notice that. I I mean I like with Kirk how his mind goes first. I like that more. That to me was more interesting than his physical because that again, it was what's interesting about this episode is obviously retrospectively we know what these people look like when they got old. And William Shatner's was honestly kind of similar to how he did actually end up aging, which I thought was kind of interesting.
See, I disagree. I don't think he looks anything like William Shatner of today. He's one of the few that aged in a completely different way.
Oh, interesting. I mean maybe some of the later effects it was a bit, but earlier on I was like, yeah, I thought, yeah, I thought it looked similar enough, but yeah, I guess not.
It may have been the slicked back hair that was the different because by the time the movies rolled
Yeah,
around,
yeah.
he's got the perm going. But
True. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the slick back hair was yeah, that might have been it. I was thinking
fun
like older.
Yeah. Fun fact, Lieutenant Uhura was originally supposed to be one of the landing party that starts Age, but Gene Roddenberry kiboshed this because it would have made her look unattractive.
I was gonna say something offensive, but
Hey, Gene, come on, black don't crack.
okay, you beat me to it. I was gonna say black don't crack. So we all know that
Uh,
black don't crack.
well, clearly he learns this later because in a later episode, Uhura does have a rapid aging scene in the episode "And the Children Shall Lead," which I think is in this season.
Oh, really? That's
It
funny.
may, if it's not, and then it's in the next one. We only have one more after this, but
That's pretty funny.
yeah. So he eventually learns it. Another
I just
fun.
enjoy I enjoyed yeah Shatner like his physicality of an old person. It was very accurate of like
It,
this is
it,
what it's
I,
like. Yeah,
it was funny because it was true.
yeah. It worked.
Although I couldn't help but notice when he's holding his left arm, I was like, "Is Kirk about to have a heart attack?"
That would have been interesting. I
That
should. Yeah,
that would have. If you were writing a darker show, I think that's an element you could have put
it's
in.
true. I loved yeah. I have a note that's like you could land a plane on Kirk's Marlon Brando forehead.
But another fun fact, this is the first time McCoy is aged using makeup in order to look much older than he is. The second time will be the Star Trek Next Generation pilot encounter at Farpoint. Both versions look very similar.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Consistency, like
DeForest,
it.
like, believe me, by the time we get to the movies, DeForest Kelly has visibly aged, but he's not that different.
Interesting. I see. I've seen clips of it, and it's interesting because yeah, the dynamic definitely seems different. It's interesting. I'm
Yeah.
genuinely interested to get to those because like there's a time jump, right? Like a significant one between
Oh, yeah,
this end of
yeah.
the yeah.
Well, I mean, in Star Trek The Motion Picture, Bones has retired and he calls it drafted when Kirk just reactivates his commission.
Sounds like a thing Kirk would do.
Well, it sounds like a thing McCoy would complain about too.
It's true.
This is the second time the actress Laura Wood has played a prematurely aged character on the show. She was also the Enterprise crew woman in Charlie X, whom an angry Charlie Evans ages rapidly.
Hmm.
And I have to end this with now is not the time for flirting, Dr. Wallace. You have a ticking clock crisis on your hands. Because that conversation they have in the hallway is just super weird and
It
awkward.
was kind of
And
weird. He's like, so
it's,
would you say your husband is older than you? Yeah. Age gap relationships are weird. All right, then this seems like an odd conversation. I just had a note that was, did Kirk just call her a gold digger?
in a not so roundabout way, but and not so much a gold digger as like are you a gray chaser?
Right?
Are
Oh,
you
you
hunting
like
the
him?
silver fox, milady?
Oh, you like him a little older. I mean, that's fine. I respect that, but
Until they have back problems, then she's like, absolutely not.
right? And Kirk is like, hey, don't need it. Don't need one of those little, don't need one of them. It still functions all fine.
Bones has something for that, by the way.
He does, but Kirk doesn't eat it.
This episode is brought to you by Blue Chew. I'm kidding, but this episode is brought to you by our new friends at Holo. Which, if you own a business or do any sort of social media advertising, this is honestly something that you're going to want to take a look at, because what Holo does is it takes your normal boring photos and uses their proprietary AI system to augment them into dynamic images, some of which you can see here that we've used for some of our companies that we do business with as well. And the best part is it's a fraction of the cost of what you normally pay for service like this. And here's the best part, they don't have the BS credit system that all these other AI generation apps have, where you get like a monthly allotment of credits, and once you're out, you have to buy more. No, you just plug it into Holo and you can keep doing this over and over and over again. And you can also use text prompts to edit the photos that it generates for you. It is super easy, it's super dynamic, and especially if you're pretty solidly, equipped to use AI, it's extremely easy to use. I've got to say, it's been a home run for us so far. So
Hmm.
you can click the first link in the description and try Holo today. As Kirk continues to age, he becomes increasingly forgetful, including ordering the use of an obsolete code despite having recently been told the code had been broken by the Romulans. Another word to define for everyone, perigee, which is the point of orbit of the moon or any satellite where it is closest to a planet, because orbits are on an ellipse.
Huh. Interesting.
Not to be
Just
confused
learned
with
something new.
apogee, which is when the satellite is at its furthest point away from the
All
object.
right then. We just learned something new today, kids.
Science rules.
This leads Commodore Stoker to order Spock to convene a hearing. Now is not the time for hearings, Commodore. You have a ticking clock crisis on your hands.
I love seeing Sulu and Chekhov back together. They're back and forth as always. It's fun, enjoyable, hilarious, funny. Yeah, this is where I noted that, yeah, he was definitely displaying those symptoms of early onset dementia, including anger. People who have dementia are quick to anger. It's
I believe the scientific term is crotchety old.
crotchety old. Yeah, that's what the experts call it. I love the running bit of Spock thinking it's too cold.
That was
The room is
delightful.
too cold.
That
But
was absolutely delightful. I loved it.
get that Vulcan a blanket
Why are we spending so much on the electric bill this month?
because it's
It seems to be
cold.
it seems to be coming from Spock's quarters, Captain. Spock, what are you doing in here? It's cold, Jim. It's so cold.
It's so cold. I love a lot of the performances in this. I love Spock because just part of his process of getting older in this episode is just being always, I don't know how to describe it, but his like just general like disappointment or vibe. Like every time he says something, he sounds like he's disappointed about something. It's so beautiful. It's so good.
It is quite entertaining. How many of these actors do you think were just modeling their parents?
Oh, so many of them. So many of them. They all had to be. So the voices that they were all doing certainly had to be.
Yeah, I can't think that wasn't the case for at least some of them, if not all of them.
I certainly would. I just like this was kind of the point where I just thought that the at least certainly the perception that I got was this episode was basically like, yeah, maybe the old people shouldn't be in charge because the old people can't be in charge. And I just had a note of what changed.
Kirk is found unfit to command. With Spock also afflicted, Stoker assumes command of the Enterprise and orders a direct course for Starbase 10, ignoring warnings that it will take the ship through the Romulan Neutral Zone. Where is Mr. DeSalle when you need him? He would
Right,
have
isn't
been
he?
perfect for this
I'm, I'm
situation.
I'm just saying he's in that chain of command, isn't he?
Yeah,
Certainly.
well, remember our headcanon is that after his stellar previous performance, he is now a first officer on another starship.
I suppose that's true. Surely there has to be someone in. Is Sulu not in the chain of command?
He is, but there's a Commodore on the bridge. That's the
Oh,
whole bit.
he just seemed woefully not prepared remotely to be captain of a starship.
Well, no, and thankfully, at least in this episode, they lay the groundwork for that, because Kirk says as
Yep.
much. He's never commanded a starship. which also explains his red uniform being a Commodore. So I guess that answers the question is for you to be an operational or science Commodore, you need not have captain to starship.
Okay, I don't have any notes on it because I was so captivated by the entire what was it called? Oh my God, on a
The
podcast, blanking
hearing.
on the name. The hearing, thank you. The hearing was great. That whole scene is good. All the performances are good. But the constant cutting back to all of them, and they all look like uneasy. Like none of them want to do this. None of them, they all, including the Commodore, like they all look immensely uncomfortable with these proceedings, and it comes across in the performance. It did come apparent though that they couldn't move their faces much, particularly Scotty. James Doohan clearly could not move his face a whole ton in the makeup, which worked because it forced them to kind of sluggish. But like Kirk was talking with this weird vocal affect that was clearly because he couldn't move his face a ton with the old person makeup. And I just thought that was funny.
Wait, you mean William
Then
Shatner was speaking in a strange way?
yeah, but it was really same thing with McCoy. It just became apparent that like their upper jaw, they couldn't move their upper lip a ton because it clearly cracked the makeup on the
Yeah,
top of their
they didn't want
forehead.
to crease the makeup. But Justin, this might be your favorite note of the episode. Kirk's attitude during the hearing made me want to say, and I quote, "They want you out of command because you're a senile old man." And then I thought, an ornery, senile old man who, when faced with the cold hard facts and truth, simply doubles down on how insanely awesome he is. This episode feels oddly relevant.
Wow, I had a similar note. I was like, yeah, this feels oddly relevant. I don't want to say that, but I'm glad you did because it does.
They said he's the greatest president in history and the best president on the border by a factor of 10. And I said to them, does that mean I'm better than Abraham Lincoln and George? What? Yes, sir, you're better than both of them.
It does. Also, when he called them the senior officers, he knew what he was doing.
Didn't catch that, but yeah, that's quite funny.
He knew what he was doing. That was rude. It was
Uh,
so rude.
Also, Warp 5 doesn't seem like a crisis speed to me.
Yeah.
He's like, we have to get them to
Yeah.
Starbase 10 immediately. Warp 5. Like, dude, we can go Warp 8. Warp
So
7
was
safely.
I couldn't figure out was his insistence on getting to the base because he thought that they would help with the aging thing?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
His claim was that, and I mean, it's probably true, kind of, that they have bigger, not necessarily better facilities, but I mean,
I mean, all right.
as we have all learned from pandemics around history, usually it's speed that
Yeah.
is the better alternative, but you know,
Also, if you don't know what this is and what's causing it, you should probably quarantine the people who have it, just in the
well,
event that it might
they've
be contagious.
established that it only affected the landing party.
Oh, that is true. That is true. This is where I made the note. Yeah, chair-bound paper pusher is pretty close to a pencil pushing nerd. I bet you Kirk could pass a cognitive exam.
Well, clearly not because
So,
he
yeah, I guess
didn't.
not.
He did. I gotta
uh,
say, I found the performance funny, but for all the wrong reasons because it's way too relevant for today. But like, it's a good performance where he's in there and he's just getting frustrated because he's like, when I give an order, I expect it to be given, and it's like you did give it, and he did it. You just forgot, and it's on you, bro. And then when he's getting smarmy with Spock, I took offense to that because he's like, you want to command for yourself, and it was like Spock has never
no,
expressed a
but
desire to command the Enterprise.
that's what happens. Like I don't want to bring it to the he who shall not be named. But yes, that tends to be what happens. Is it tends to make their brain like they see it as everyone wants to take what they have because
Well,
they're
Justin,
losing.
this actually happens in the movies and the books because that's why Voldemort kills Snape because he wants the Elder Wand for himself and he's paranoid that the wand is in fact Snape's.
Yeah,
So
that tends to happen with fascist leaders.
I'll bring it back to you know who. I ain't scared.
I ain't scared of you know who,
I'll even say
but
his
no,
name, Donald.
but Donald, Donald
Wouldn't that have been
the
hilarious if
Duck.
instead of wouldn't that have been hilarious if instead of his name being Tom, it was Donald?
That would have been very funny. But no, it's just yeah, the idea that yeah, you lash out at people and that you don't understand that it's for your best interest or for your best good. That happens with elderly. This is a very Kirk. I think you said it best. Kirk clearly had elderly people in his life, or not Kirk, Shatner.
Shatner, yeah.
I may not necessarily parents, but even maybe grandparents that he was
Yeah,
definitely
maybe
pulling from.
maybe I should clarify. Maybe they weren't modeling their parents as much as they were their grandparents.
Because like it definitely felt like whether in the writing or in the performance, somebody was familiar with someone who was a dementia patient. It definitely read that way, whether intentional or not intentional. Maybe it was just a coincidence and they got lucky,
Shatner had to have known somebody though, because that performance is a little too close to be
right?
speculative. Like
My favorite moment is
he's been on the other end of a conversation like that
totally,
before.
totally. Like my one of my favorite moments in the episode. I mean, I love the whole hearing, but the ending of the hearing when he walks out and there's that beat where he goes, "I'll be in my quarters," and they all look at him. And it cuts to each of them individually, and it gave me that feeling of sure, buddy. Like you know
Yeah.
where you're like yeah that like oh it's kind of sad. It's becoming sad. He still thinks he's got it. Like that moment was really good. Not power, but solid. Like I was like, it was a really solid moment. Like I definitely felt like there was a moment where I was like, hey, maybe Kirk's not gonna get out of it this time. Like that good performance from Shatner. Good performance from Shatner once again.
Once again, evidence of anybody who says that Shatner can't act. I give you this episode.
More subtle. Like the thing is, but to be fair, I based upon the limited clips I've seen of the movies, I think everyone's impression of Kirk being away is from the movies. I'm kind of
This
coming to that conclusion.
that's true because that I will say that's where that sort of Shatner speech inflection really is more present.
Yeah. Like he was trying to figure out what he did 10 years ago, however many years ago in between the movies and the end of the show. It's like he's trying to rediscover that affect
Yeah,
and it's just
like
he's not recapturing it.
it's there, but it's much softer in the
It's,
series.
it's not to say that he doesn't have his moments of total overacting, but there's a lot more moments of like subtlety like this where this could be way sillier than it is. I was a little disappointed that they didn't get an old man Captain Kirk. Like that I was a little
Well,
disappointed by that.
Shatner seemed to be vehemently against it, but also, um, is the theme of this episode that old people are because that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely that's what it felt like. Well, it just felt like when you get old, you become senile. And like that's why I was like, "Oh, is this a case of the 1960s they don't have the understanding of elderly mental health that we do now or is it just
Oh,
like
obviously not. Like, I mean, that just goes without saying. Like,
cuz yeah,
I
it's
mean, well,
very much like they're
let's
like
compare. At one point in the show, they say that they're equivalent to 60 or 70, and look at a lot of people that are 60 or 70 today.
yeah, that's true.
William Shatner being one of them.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, he went into space at what? How old was he when he went into space? Was he 90 in his 90s?
Oh God, I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, definitely maybe in his 80s. I think in his 80s. But like
80s? Was it
again,
his 80s?
well, let's
My dad was
see.
real proud of that. He was like, Captain Kirk went to space. He was so excited.
He was 90
90.
in
Wow. Good for him.
2021. Wow. So yeah,
He's
so
still pretty healthy.
that'd make him 94-ish, 94,
Yeah.
95, depending on his birthday. Meanwhile, Kirk, McCoy, and Spock discuss Chekhov's immunity to the affliction, remembering Chekhov's fright at the discovery of the dead body. McCoy surmises that Chekhov's increased adrenaline levels may have had some effect, and recalls that adrenaline had once shown promise as a treatment for radiation sickness. Adrenaline real? No.
I was just going to be like, I was just going to be like, get those old people some adrenochrome.
No adrenaline, not adrenochrome. But
Isn't, isn't that where you get adrenochrome? From the adrenaline gland?
no, I think you get it out of the blood. They allege that you can get it out of the blood.
Oh, okay. I thought it was adrenaline related. Because
Hang
that's
on.
why.
Hang on. What
Oh my
is
God. Not to go down a
adrenaline?
conspiracy rabbit hole, but isn't that why they need the kids scared? Because it activates makes the adrenochrome sweeter. That's why the vampires need it.
So what it actually okay, so yes, technically speaking, you are correct. What it actually is, it's a chemical produced when adrenaline oxidizes.
Yeah, that's why they need the kids scared.
Ah, so
Never let
yeah.
it be said that I don't do my research.
So yes, adrenochrome. So yeah, get those old people some adrenochrome.
I mean, adrenochrome is technically yeah, it's a real thing. The usage of it is not, but
Yeah,
it is a real thing in the body.
this is true.
Um,
Like many. like uh, many things of conspiracy origin.
There is some bit of truth to it.
But no,
Um,
Hieronolin, not a real thing.
Not a real thing. My note is just from Bones. Damn it, Spock, we need a montage stats.
Things happening at once remind everyone of what's going on. And with every shot, show a little improvement. To show it raw would take too long. That's called a montage. Even Rocky had a montage. A simple little montage. Always fade out in a montage. If you fade out, it seems like more time has passed in a montage.
Speaking of trying things out, it's time to tell the people about the mountain of entertainment, the pinnacle
Paramount.
of streaming services, Paramount Plus. It's
It's true.
awesome, people.
It's good. It's good quality stuff. It's where I watch all of my Star Trek conveniently on Paramount
All
Plus.
all of the Star Trek, including the upcoming series, who actually I found out because, and don't worry, you're going to see a trailer for the upcoming series, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. I found out this week when I was watching Monday Night Raw that Becky Lynch has a starring role in that series.
Really?
Yeah,
Starring role?
starring
Really?
role. She's a main character. Well, I don't think she's a main character, but she's a character that has more than, like a couple minutes of screen. She plays
Huh.
an admiral.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting. I don't know
yeah.
it. I know who she is. I don't know a ton about her, but I know who she
Well,
is.
because she
You're
in
gonna
her
find out how little
match
I know about.
in her match that week, she was wearing a Star Trek inspired ring gear,
Oh,
and they
oh,
mentioned it
interesting.
on air, and I'm like, isn't that something? Where a wrestling show on Netflix pitches a show on Paramount Plus because one of their wrestlers. That's dude, pro wrestling's awesome.
I mean, this is for another show, but I was consistently impressed by professional wrestling. I've been doing some research for something else that might be coming up later, and I was consistently impressed by how available professional wrestling is.
It's believe me, we're gonna have a conversation about that on Thursday, not this Thursday, but we will have had a conversation on the Thursday following the recording of this episode
Yes, we
about
will.
professional wrestling. And I will also add for just some fun facts here. When Cody Rhodes was still in AEW, he once had a Star Trek theme inspired entrance, including MJF a
Really?
wearing a Star Trek officer's uniform, and
That
kudos to him selling it as like, I can't believe I'm standing next to these nerds.
look, okay, okay, this is totally. But like, I have become a Cody Rhodes fan over the past week, and his entrances are kind of rad.
Oh, they
So
are
like,
like dude,
like,
Cody Rhodes entrances are stellar. Like
like I
they're
was I
awesome.
was impressed.
They're the best part of pro wrestling is just the
I
over the top. But here's the thing, and Cody does this in a way. All of his entrances are over the top, but they're never hokey.
No, again, his different podcast, but like the one for his John Cena title fight, this last one was legit rad. I was like, this is rad. I'm into this. Like I became kind of a I've become more of a fan of professional wrestling over the doing research for this. I'm very excited for that. That's coming later
That is
for
coming
you guys.
later. But what's coming right now is a sneak peek. Well, not a sneak peek, but like a first look, a trailer, as it were, for Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which I'm not going to lie, I'm kind
I
of
was
stoked for
surprised.
now.
I was surprised by it. The thing that made me go really was when Paul Giamatti showed. There's a bunch of people who are in it. Like Paul Giamatti is in it. There's a couple other. I think no, not Michelle Yeoh, but there's a couple other people. I went
Mrs.
really
Elastigirl's in it.
Elastigirl. It gave very much gives me CW for Star Trek, which I'm
It
okay with.
does, but it's also the first series in a long time that's been set in the actual future, which I'm kind of stoked for.
My thing with like things like Star Trek and Star Wars is like I think a CW version of Star Trek. I think that's fine. It can exist because there's also it's in my list of stories for next week. But there's a a comedy Star Trek show that they've just announced. I'm like, yeah, we need more varied genre of show for Star Trek. Like I wanted Root Star Trek with Quentin Tarantino.
Hey, I will say this much. I, upon first glance, I hated the concept of lower decks, but from what I've seen of it, it's genuinely funny, and it doesn't disrespect Star Trek, and
No, if
I'm
anything,
okay with
that
that.
show is very respectful.
Well, yeah, because God, it cuts deep in the lore. But anyway,
All on Paramount Plus.
yeah. And so here's a first look at Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
And so, we begin. I'm Captain Nala Ake, Chancellor of Starfleet Academy. We're all the first Academy class to return to our campus in San Francisco after more than 120 years. Some of you are here for your families, some for yourselves. Together, you are the best and the brightest from across the galaxy. A tapestry that is Starfleet. You will learn the skills that shaped our greatest officers. Like them, we'll ask you to give more of yourselves than you knew you had. To dream without limitations. Whatever challenges came before today led you to this moment. You here now. You weave together the future. So go out and seek, explore, boldly go where no one has gone before. It is my great honor to welcome you all to Starfleet Academy.
As Enterprise enters the neutral zone, Romulan vessels attack, and only the Commodore was surprised by this. If only people had warned him.
Yeah. My favorite thing is just how it immediately. I mean, I just have a note that that escalated quickly. That's an Anchorman reference for real. Yeah, it was just out of nowhere. They were just being like lambasted by Romulan ships. I was like, whoa, the tension just ratcheted up a whole ton.
And also, as a surprise to only the Commodore, the Romulans ignore all attempts at contact, and Uhura is literally at his station being like, the Romulans don't normally answer hail, sir. And he's like, try anyway. Maybe this time it'll
Right,
be different.
right. He's like, what does it hurt to try, woman? No,
The
he didn't
shields.
say it
It
like that.
hurts the shields.
It hurts the shields and the tech. Yeah. I didn't think the addition of the Romulans attacking. You know how much I hate doing this. It didn't add anything for me. Like I didn't think it
It
needed
let
it. The
it
ticking
let
clock
Kirk
was enough.
it gave Kirk his cowboy moment, but Stoker, having no field command experience and paralyzed with indecision, considers surrendering. He doesn't consider it. He outright says, "We have no choice but to surrender."
And yeah, they don't take. And then was it Sulu's like, yeah, they
No,
don't
it's
take
Chekhov.
prisoners. Check off. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
take prisoners. But to be again, compared to our previous experience with Commodores, um, I respect him because he didn't want to take command. He doesn't have delusions of grandeur. He did not want to be in charge. It was like a last ditch. Like it was like the very last. And to be fair to him, he asked Spock to do it first, and Spock was like, "Hell no." So like he knew he had no business doing this. So like I will at least give him that level of credit. It's like it feels not unfair, but it feels kind of mean to make fun of him a little bit because like he knew he wasn't equipped to do this.
I will give points for self-awareness, but in sickbay, Spock announces that the drug is ready, warning that it may kill as well as cure. Kirk insists on taking the first injection. The drug reverses the aging effect, and Kirk races to the bridge to relieve Stalker. When Kirk is screaming and writhing in agony, I'm like, doesn't adrenaline stop pain?
Right? I mean, my favorite bit was did it feel a little bit like when he popped out totally fine, he was waiting for applause? I don't mean like in I mean like in universe, he was waiting for the bridge to applaud him, like he was just waiting for an applause break.
It was one step away from him striking the Superman pose.
He was like ba 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 ba, I'm here now. Like it was, or like here he comes to save the day. Like he was just waiting for them to clap for him. Clap for Kirk. He needs his own button. Clap for Kirk.
Hashtag clap for Kirk. Kirk bluffs the Romulans by sending a message to Starfleet Command, deliberately using the broken code, warning that Enterprise will self-destruct using the corbomite devices, which will destroy any nearby ships and contaminate the area for a 4-year period. So another corbomite maneuver, and I gotta say, I dug this. I thought it was actually quite clever.
I was just like, holy it's the Corbomite maneuver. I was like, oh my god, we've seen this, but like I think I asked you, I was like, have you ever done this before? And I don't know if you mentioned this episode, but it was a legit surprise. I mean, I've already used the move so nice he used it twice. But it was like he brought it back. I was like, oh my god, this is an established maneuver that he's already tried. Like I was like, oh, that's again, I when shows
This
like
one's
this,
even better because like, if there wasn't real world precedent for this, which trust me, there's a lot. That's why it's so brilliant. It's really similar. For those who don't know, I'll condense this as quickly as possible. Back during the Second World War, the United States military knew that the the Japanese Navy was planning a major offensive attack, but they didn't know where. So the people in Hawaii assumed it was going to be the island of Midway. Washington, forget where they thought it was going to be, but they thought it was going to be somewhere else. So knowing that the Japanese had broken parts of the US code, or at least an unscrambled code, that's right, they hadn't broken it, but they sent an unencrypted message from Midway, which was fake, saying that they were out of fresh water. And they did this because Target AF, which was the Japanese code name at the time for Midway, had reported that their water desalination plant was broken.
oh, interesting.
And so by reporting that, the Japanese intelligence sent that back, and they knew that target AF was Midway.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
So I
Interesting.
loved this bit. I
Yeah.
loved it because it's not as far fetched. This has been done several times
No, no.
throughout
I mean, I
history. Like,
recognized it just as a narrative device. I was like, oh yeah, this is a pretty common like fake out.
but it works as a narrative device too because it harkens back to when Kirk said send the message in code 2. But when he
Yeah.
did it the first time, it's because he forgot. But this time he doesn't intentionally. And that also serves as a moment to reassure the crew that he's back, baby. Applaud for Kirk. Clap for Kirk.
I mean, I again, I love when shows like this because again you got to remember the notion this is a show that's designed to run in syndication, designed to play any episode in any order. So any level of serialization and internal reference and connection, you could watch this and you could watch this episode first or the Corbomite maneuver first, and they call back to each other, and that's so cool for this time period. They just didn't do that on television,
It's
not
rad,
intentionally
brother.
anyway.
It's rad, brother. The Romulans move to a safe distance, disengaging and giving Enterprise room to make a surprise escape at warp factor 8. The last shot of this episode is actually reused from Amok Time, and you can tell this by looking at the wig on Chekhov, which he does not have. Basically, his hair looks different in this shot.
Oh, interesting. That makes
But
sense.
I thought it was a clever plan. I'm not gonna lie. I think Kirk earned his pay for that week.
Yeah, he did. He put up with a lot. Also, I learned he was 34, which means he's a year younger than me in
Well,
universe.
Shatner was 36 at the time, so
Uh, oh, wow. You look old in the 60s. Or do I look? That made me feel old.
I don't know that he looked old necessarily. I feel like
I,
which I am technically older than Shatner was at that moment, but not by a lot. And I feel like I look older than he did. But the beard, I'm sure if Shatner had a
yes,
beard,
it's the beard. Yeah, it's
it's the
true. It's the
beard.
beard. It's the beard. Yeah, it's always the beard. I love the bit at the end where Kirk is like, I'm going to be busy for the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Take over, Mr. Sulu. Steady as she goes.
Steady as she goes, Captain.
Also,
I mean, by now,
that,
aren't we used to him being unprofessional on the bridge in front
I
of all of
mean,
his officers?
there's a reason she's a civilian doctor. they're gonna go play doctor for a few minutes. Don't you worry. He needs a
She's
very thorough checkup. Oh God, what's wrong with me?
oh, I'm about to make it worse. He may be outside the chain of command, but she won't be outside chains, if you know what I'm saying.
Also, the actress who plays the girl, her name is Sarah Marshall. And I had a question. So was Kirk forgetting Sarah Marshall?
No, he wasn't forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, that's true.
She
But I
broke up
mean,
with him.
oh, that's true. But he also was forgetting her though over the course of the episode. Was he forgetting her?
I don't think he ever forgot her per se,
Oh, that is true. Yeah,
but
that's a good
I'm
point.
we're gonna let it slide for the movie reference.
It's fair. I was just impressed. I was like, oh my God, it's
So
Sarah
wait,
Marshall.
should the title of this episode be "Forgetting Dr. Marshall"?
I mean, that would be funny, except for that wasn't the character's name; that was the actress's name. And but then again, might,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Star Trek fans will pedantically point it out in the comments, and that's just good engagement.
What should we go with? Because I'm still racking my brain. We'll come up with something. We'll come up with something. I mean, my first instinct is old people suck, but
Old people, yeah, old people suck. Old people don't suck. Old people suck. No,
no, this episode is saying that old people suck.
it is. It really is. Yeah, it really is saying that old people suck, and they don't suck. You know, if not for the dementia, elderly Kirk could totally run a starship. I mean, he does.
Oh, for sure. He would just find more efficient ways to do things, is all.
It's true. It's true.
I think they do if I remember correctly, I think they do a gag at one point when they get the new Enterprise after Search for Spock, where he sits in the chair and it's like uncomfortable because
That's funny.
it's not broken in. Like
Not conform to his buttocks.
he doesn't have the butt print, you see.
Yeah, no. He needs the noticeable butt print. And needs to be facing 32 degrees west. So he can
With
look
a,
at the monitor without having to crank his neck. He can look at both monitors without having to crank his neck.
well, that's why the chair swivels, you see.
True.
Our red shirt death counter remains at 16, and Justin, as per tradition, would you like to take a stab at the episode, at what we will see in the episode that we're looking at next week,
I
entitled
do.
Obsession?
Oh, well, I'm gonna guess.
Before you guess, I will give you a slight hint just because I want to drop this for those that know you will catch this reference. I have already decided on the name of this episode based on an episode that we have done recently.
Interesting. Okay. So my guess. Well, I mean, red flags? Red flags?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
I'm gonna get.
it's even more direct than that.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess based on the name Obsession that there is a love interest there for the episode, like a young blonde commandant, ensign, Yauman, what have you, and Kirk gets black. He gets splooshed in the face by a plant of some sort, and that causes him to become obsessive and aggressive sexually.
No, but when you watch the episode, you will understand the reference and you will laugh. You will laugh so
That's
hard.
excellent, excellent. That's funny. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, join us next week when we boy, we're gonna really take the piss out of this episode. I can tell you already.
Oh,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
a
one of
fun time.
those.
It's gonna be a fun time. But until then, like, share, and subscribe. Check out our sponsors, especially if you are a small business, and watch long and prosper.
Much love and prosper.
Cue those clips from the next episode.
Cut to next week. Kirk did not this cloud, but that cloud arguably Kirk.
Seeing a real, recycled plot here.
He's so expendable. He's deliciously expendable.